Everyone. Thank you for joining us today for our U46Engage webinar hosted by our English Language Learners Department. Our session today is fostering social emotional learning at home. So what kind of skills can we give our children to be able to do some self-management, be able to make some decision making, and those positive relationships. So today who we have is Karen Vargas, and she's a fifth grade dual language teacher here in our district. So thank you so much for delivering this very important information that we need as parents, especially right now when kids are spending, more time at home and we're really bonding as families. We need all the tools that we need to make sure that that bonding is a positive bonding. And we also have Dr. Hilda Rivera with us, and she is our coordinator, one of our coordinators in our English Language Learners Department. But before we begin, I want to let everyone know that we are recording this session. And so we'll be having an interactive conversation using the chat box located at the bottom of your screen. We do ask that you please do not include any identifying information, as this is being recorded and we will be posting this on our public channels. So without further ado, I'll hand it over to Dr. Rivera and Ms. Karen Vargas to take it away tonight. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. It's always a pleasure to see parents try to learn more about how to support kids at home. And we have a special teacher here who had this presentation for you. And I hope you can get some skills that you can apply at home. Also, we can learn from you. So thank you for being with us. And Karen, please, it's all you.
Hello, good evening. I'm Karen Vargas, I'm a fifth grade dual language teacher over at Lords Park Elementary. So shout out to Lords Park if we have any parents. I will be talking about fostering social emotional learning in your home today. It's been something that I am very passionate about within my classroom, and within all of this research, the biggest and most important part is partnering with you guys. So we will be starting our presentation. And just like mentioned before, we will be using the chat box. So locate that down at the bottom of your screen. All right. So before we start off, I want to lay down some norms. This will just set down some norms for our conversation. So be present, be ready and prepared to participate via chat, be an active listener, and make sure that you're respectful to all of our participants. And these are our outcomes. First, we will start off the presentation by defining what is social emotional learning. We will move forward to why it is important. And then we will go ahead and look at what it looks like in the classroom. And we will then, the majority of our time will be spent talking about what SEL looks like in your home. And also we have some time at the end for questions, but feel free to also type those in the chat as we're going through the presentation. You can type your questions in the chat as well. All right, so we first want to go ahead and lay down what is this social emotional learning. A lot of the times we hear it like emotional intelligence, which is a term that's very popular these days. But within our, education, we call it social emotional learning. And over the past few years, there has been a huge shift in education. And across the nation, classrooms and schools have encouraged teachers and administrators to integrate their practices with these social emotional learning skills. And a big advocate for social emotional learning is an organization called CASEL. And CASEL developed these they call these CASEL 5. And they are 5 major components within the social emotional learning cluster. And we can see them on here in this graph. We have self-awareness, we have self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision making. And then outside of that, we have all of the things that actually support us and support that development within the child, which are the classrooms with the support of curriculum. We have schools, and then we have practices that support the schools. And then you can see down at the edge, what hugs us all together is our home and the community. And that is through our partnership with our parents and with our community. And really, this framework is a systemic approach. We want to make sure that as a district, we're not just applying things to our classroom, but we're trying to go outside of that as well and make sure that we have a systemic approach to helping our children develop these skills. And over the next few slides, I'm going to be going over each one of those core 5. The first one is self-awareness. So self-awareness is being able to recognize your own emotions and your thoughts and understand how they influence our behavior. So in the real world, as an adult, this looks like being able to understand what we are good at and what we need to work on. So that can be in our jobs. We know what we're skilled at, and we know what is maybe more difficult for us and we need to spend a little bit more time working on. And for a child, that self-awareness looks like not giving up, right? Just like an adult too. It looks like them having difficulty in a math problem, but then still being able to get the energy and the confidence to be like, I don't get it right now. Let me work on it a little bit more. So in our little clouds here, we see some of those skills, which is identify emotions. We want our kiddos to be able to have a positive self-perception and have self-confidence. All right, so that's our first component. The next one is self-management. And this self-management is being able to recognize your own emotions and thoughts, but being able to regulate them. So we understand that our emotions and thoughts lead to actions and behaviors. And when we have self-management, we're able to monitor those emotions and make positive choices in our behaviors. So this is being able to control our impulses, being able to motivate ourselves and set goals. This is when a child has self-management, they don't yell at the top of their lungs to get, their point across, but they use calming talk to be able to demonstrate their emotions. So we will be going over some techniques with self-management that will help your child. Oh, and a big part of the self-management too is when an adult or a child does not have this skill, it's a major hint that they will become procrastinators when we're not able to self-manage. So we're not able to manage our stress. We're not able to manage our time very well. It's very hard to stay motivated, which, that will lead to procrastination down the road. All right, so our next component is social awareness. And you can kind of get a feeling of how they all kind of start building on each other. So this self-management skill is their ability to regulate their emotions and be able to empathize with others. So being able to take the perspective of others and not just people that look like us or act like us, but people that are different than us, that share the diverse background, different culture than our own. And so this competence in an adult would look like someone being able to empathize with a coworker, let's say that we have a coworker that is just getting on our nerve, and our ability to not get mad and try and put ourselves in their shoes is our ability to have the skill to have social awareness. And a big part of this skill is our ability to take the perspective of others. And being socially aware would mean that we can grasp the concept of equity. And equity is understanding that equal does not mean the same for everybody. Everybody needs to receive what they need. So to a child, when they have this skill of social awareness, it looks like them being able to have a baby brother and understand that mom might need to spend a little bit more time with baby brother than with me right now, because my baby brother needs my parent for those basic needs. So this is something very important that then will carry on, through school and, through their whole lives, is being able to just empathize with others. And actually, one last thing I want to mention about this last one is social awareness, specifically for an adult. It starts with being culturally competent. So that might sound like a fancy word, but it's actually quite simple. It means being able to be, it means to be aware of your own privileges, be aware of your own experiences, your culture, because we need to know that about ourselves before we can try and understand others, before we can start looking at them through a lens that is knowing of our experiences. So social awareness does begin with understanding our own culture, understanding our own abilities, our own privileges, before we can understand others. Our fourth one is relationship skills. And so this is our ability to maintain healthy relationships and rewarding relationships with diverse individuals. We're able to communicate properly. We're able to listen actively, and we're able to cooperate with others. And just like I keep on saying this word, diverse individuals, because you know that when somebody is very similar to you, somebody's a big jokester and you're a jokester, you automatically click, and it's easy to build a relationship with that person. But when you are, in the real world, there are people that are very different than us. And being able to maintain these healthy relationships with people that may be different than us is a key component to this relationship competency. And so in practice, to an adult, this is being able to work in teams, being able to actively listen, being able to listen to your spouse without interrupting them, being able to listen to your child without interrupting them. It's all about this relationship. And to a child, this would look like being able to share at school, having a close friend. Can they maintain a friendship? Do they talk about one friend very often in your house? And being able to share with an adult, with a sibling, their struggles and their successes. That is what relationship skills look like in a child. And our last one is responsible decision making. And this is the last of our competencies. And you'll see that this skill happens when a child has kind of mastered a little bit of all of the other skills. They're able to make constructive and respectful choices about their behavior and their social interactions. They're able to resist inappropriate social pressure. They're able to negotiate conflict, right? I mean, as early as 5th grade, 4th grade, you start to see that your children will begin to develop these, what we call drama in the school, right? with their friends, with their peers, and they should be able to negotiate that conflict. And another key component of this is being able to seek and offer help when needed. Now, to an adult in practice, this looks like maybe not laughing at maybe an inappropriate joke or a racist joke shared during your lunch break. Being able to apologize when your child, spouse, or your loved one has, been hurt. Being able to respectfully disagree. We know in our time, lots of people on Facebook that maybe don't have this skill to be able to respectfully disagree with somebody. And to a child, this would look like, saying no to maybe stealing in school, being able, when they're older, being able to say no to underage drinking. And less extreme and more common are being able to plan to study for a test. If we know that there's a test on Friday, we make a responsible decision of planning out on Wednesday and Thursday some time to study. And being able to complete their homework, right? That's responsible decision making. And that's what it would look like to a child. All right, so I know that's a lot of information. But we will be going over it a little bit more now, where we will be talking about what we do in school. Actually, no, I'm sorry. We're going to be going over why it's important, and then we'll go over what we're going to do in school. So you might ask yourself, okay, it's what time is it now? It's almost 7. Why am I listening to this? Why is this important for me? And why it's important is because this sets the foundation or sets a key component of your child's development and whether they're going to be able to reach their hopes and their dreams. Because we all need these skills to be successful citizens, proactive citizens out in the world, whether that's in our jobs, whether that is with a spouse, whether that is having relationships with our friends, being able to be a proactive citizen. And so I do have a little activity here because I know I've been talking a lot. So I am going to ask you to grab a journal, grab a piece of paper. It could be just any sheet of paper that you have possibly lying around in your house, okay? Just a sheet of paper, you're going to be writing some notes. And this is going to be very, very important for you to start understanding why this social emotional learning is important. So I have 2 questions up here on the slides. And the first one is, what hopes and dreams do you have for your child? Okay, so you're going to take a moment to reflect on that question and decide, what are some hopes and dreams I have for my child? And or your children. So if you have children, just pick your favorite. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead and, start with your oldest and work your way to the youngest. So go ahead and take a moment and write down what are the hopes and dreams that you have for your child. Okay, that can be, maybe I want them to go to college. Okay, that's a long-term hope and dream. Maybe a short term is I want to have them be, have them independently sit in the table to do their homework, right? That's a shorter term hope and dream that you may have for your child. So take a moment, grab a sheet of paper and go ahead and jot that down. And then the second thing that I want you to do is I want you to take a moment to identify what do they need to learn from you. Take a look at these skills here that are on this slide. Do they need to learn to identify their emotions? Do they need to learn to empathize? Do they need to learn to respect others? To reach those hopes and dreams, which one of these skills or what list of these skills do they need to learn from you? Okay, So take a moment, and I'm going to go ahead and start a timer, and I'm going to give you about 5 minutes. Okay, 5 minutes to go ahead and reflect on these 2 questions. All right, we got our timer going here. All right, go ahead. And if you have any questions, if you're still unsure, just go ahead and type it up in the chat. I can go ahead and open that up. Okay, and our time is up. All right, so if you did not get through maybe all of your children, or you weren't able to fully finish this activity, I'm leaving you homework. Okay, so your homework is to make sure that you take a moment to really reflect on these 2 questions for all your children. And now here's the second step to your homework. It wasn't going to be that easy. So your real homework is actually sitting down with each of your children and talking about what are the hopes, and tell them what are the hopes and dreams that you have for them. And talk about some of these skills that you want to help them develop. Now, if you have a younger child, so that's preschool to 3rd grade, preschool to 2nd grade, share these hopes with them, share these dreams that you have for them, and also ask them to talk about their dreams and what they want to accomplish. And if you have older kids, definitely 100% ask them what their hopes and dreams are, and ask them to reflect on their own skills. Are they able to identify, a problem? Are they able to analyze a situation? Are they able to empathize with you? Are they able to empathize with a brother? Really ask them what are their hopes and dreams, and what can you help them develop? All right, so don't forget your homework. Make sure you write that down. All right, so this is really why all of this is super important, because they will help your children reach their hopes and dreams one day. That's just my timer. It wasn't put in the right place, so we'll ignore that. So our next part of the presentation is talking about what are teachers doing right now to help your children develop these skills. And for self-awareness, we have reflective writing. There are times where students can write about how they're feeling that day. Right now that we are in COVID time, we actually designate the first 30 minutes of every school day to a morning meeting. And through our morning meeting, we practice these skills, but a big component of it is, taking a moment to write down how we're feeling. Talk about, what we did the day before that maybe helped us feel this way. We also practice mindfulness. So what that is we have different programs that we turn on that maybe are, calming music, or where they do little yoga and they practice this mindfulness. For self-management, we very commonly use grounding techniques, and we'll go back to that. You'll practice those so that you can also practice them with your child when they need to manage those strong emotions. We also, for social awareness, we do a lot of peace circles, which are part of restorative practices. And what this means is having conversations about, with our peers, and being able to sit down and listen to them. We have other things such as service projects. Maybe you're right now, because of COVID, service projects are kind of on a halt across all the nation, but being able to go out to our community and do something good for our community. Being able to read books together with diverse group of characters. Relationship skills, we play, making a new friend activity, or we talk about conflict resolution with our read-alongs. And for responsible decision making, in the high school level, we have student consoles, and in the lower grades, we have, different activities where we talk about, what would you do in this situation? And another really great resource that we are using pretty much for all of these components is something called Second Step. And Second Step is a resource that every single classroom across our district has received. And what these are activities and videos that teach all of these skills. So for example, right now in my classroom, we're talking about avoiding assumptions. And, you know, such a great skill for a child to know is that we need to take on perspectives, right? So the big part of being able to, you know, be socially aware and build positive relationships. All right. All right, so here we have our grounding techniques. And I told you we were gonna practice these. Okay, so for these grounding techniques, these are things that you can do at your home. You don't have to do all of them. Maybe your child will take to one more than another. And just another side note, you will be getting this presentation. So you will be receiving this presentation afterwards, and there are like little hot links. So anything that's blue is a hot link. You can click it and this will take you to a document with these that you can maybe print out, post on your refrigerator, post them on a wall or a corner to help if your child is having strong emotions, you can lead them to that spot. So the first thing, so are you guys ready? The first thing that I always try and encourage is sit up straight and plant your feet flat on the floor, right? If you're standing, they're gonna be planted on the floor. Sometimes we'll have to like, I know I'm a little short, so I'm gonna have to like scoot forward, just make sure I'm sitting straight up, okay? And that'll help to kind of, you know, I guess part of mindfulness is having a connection with the earth and the ground. And so that just will help your child a lot. Okay, so the first one is I want you to go ahead and take a moment and identify 5 things around the room. Okay, so you can say them out loud or you can say them in your head. Okay. All right, so now with this activity, did you notice that your mind, you were probably maybe thinking about like, oh man, you know, I should probably be preparing, you know, lunches for tomorrow, or oh, I should be doing this. And the moment that you did that, you focused in on that object or those objects, you know, and who knows, maybe that triggered something else you needed to do. I saw, you know, a dog toy. I was like, oh, I should pick that up. But, you know, for a child, it will really make them just disconnect from whatever strong emotion they're feeling. Now, the next one is one that if you have an older child, like a high schooler, middle school, actually even younger kids too, they really, really get relaxed with music. And so having them listen to, this says energetic or relaxing music, but honestly, it can be anything that just maybe speaks to them, calms them down. If you have a younger child, I really recommend you designate a spot in your home where if they really enjoy, like if that calms them down, find a spot in your home where they can sit down and listen to music for a couple of minutes, okay? Should I play my little jams here? Okay, no, I won't play my relaxing jams with you, but take a moment, find a little playlist for your child, what works best for them. Or for an older kid, a high school or middle school, they probably already have that little playlist that helps calm them down. All right, so this next one is actually really, really nice. I really like this one. When I was student teaching and teaching out in Chicago, we had these really cool peace rocks. And it was this object that each child held. And in the younger grades, they had like a little necklace and it was a little soft rock. And when they were feeling strong emotions, what they would do is that they would rub the rock and just focus in on the rock. And that'll help, you know, calm those strong emotions. And so in your case, go ahead and hold something. You grab something that you have around you, okay? I have, a random nail polish. I'm gonna go ahead and hold that. And I want you to hold it, and again, make sure that your feet are planted on the floor. You're sitting up straight. Hold it in your hand, and I want you to focus on the color and the texture. And you can even say that out loud, or you can say it in your head. Be like, oh, this is black and tan. It says Deborah Lipman. It feels really smooth. And it's a cube. And as you start focusing in on this object, just like that other activity, it helps you kind of relax and get into another mind space. So you give your brain a break from those strong emotions that you were just feeling. So this is another really great tool that's really easy on the go. If they're in the car, you can just, tell them to do that. Grab an object around them, focus on it, say some things to describe it out loud. That might work very well for younger children to say and describe it out loud. All right, so the next one is, there's so much, scientific research behind this one. That something as simple as taking a deep breath can calm our heartbeat down. So I want you to go ahead and take a moment to do that. And you're going to take 10 deep breaths. But this is the key component of your breath. You need to breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Okay? So when I taught preschool, we used to always teach it in this fun way, which was smell the flower, blow like a dragon. Smell the flower, breathe like a dragon, or breathe fire out like a dragon. And that would help them breathe in through their nose, breathe out through their mouth. So you can use that, or, and we actually had them hold their hand just like this. If you can see me, we have them hold their hand like this. So let's go ahead and do that. Hopefully my microphone doesn't sound all crazy by me blowing out, but go ahead and do that. Again, your feet planted straight on the floor, sit up straight, hold your little flower. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, nobody knock out. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And I already feel so mellow and calm. My jitters are a little gone. It works. And I'm telling you that if you love this, you do it for yourself too. I know we all need breathers. So grab your little flower and breathe in and blow out like a dragon. And that will help calm you down in so many moments, which I know you experience throughout your day. And this last one is, delicious, but use wisely. You do not want to give your child a candy every time they have these strong emotions. No, they are not going to invite me to come back if you do that. So, use this one, maybe around Halloween time if you have candy laying around, or I'm sure you have candy laying around all year long from Halloween anyways. So, use this wisely. When you feel that your child is maybe feeling these extra strong emotions and, breathing is not working for them, playing relaxing music isn't working with them, in a way, it kind of feels like bribing them with the candy, but I promise you it's really not. Because the second part of giving them that candy is having them choose 3 words that they can just use to describe that taste. Okay. And this might be really silly with the younger kids. Like, if you give them, a gummy worm, they might say, well, this tastes like a worm, or, but it'll get their mind off of those strong emotions. All right, so I hope that helped you. Maybe you'll use some of these to kind of ground yourself and, calm down in those stressful or overwhelming situations. And again, there's a little printout you can use when you click that hot link. All right, let me see here. Oh, I love that, Lauren. Smell the soup and blow on it to cool it down. I love that. That's good too. All right. So in the home, this is where, we really get to it. So what can you do in your home? So I already gave you some of those grounding techniques that you can use in your home, but I'm going to give you a whole lot of more activities. So what I want you to do right now is take a look at those hopes and dreams that you have for your children. Okay. And I want you to, what are the skills that you really want to teach them? And I also do want to encourage you, this is a big moment for you to participate in the chat, because you also are doing these things without having a name to it. Like you don't just say like, oh yeah, today I taught my child, responsible decision making, but you already do these things. So we want to learn from you. We want to make sure that we're a community and we're all learning from each other. So if you hear like, oh, I do this a little bit different in my house, type it there in the chat so that we can learn from you. Okay. Okay. All right, so our first one is self-awareness, right? So we have our little clouds there. That's being able to identify our emotions, have confidence. So I want to encourage you to make sure that you're always praising the process, right? Not the result. This encourages your child to have what's called a growth mindset. And that is that when we hit failure, when we fall down, sounds rough, but we do hit failure a lot of times. We do, fall down, but we're able to raise ourselves up and grow from that. And when we are praising the process, it instills in your child that the process is so, so important, because that is where we learn, right? That is where we learn, in the process. And, take a note of your child's interests. So give them more of what they love to do. If your child loves drawing anime, there are classes in the library for that. I guess we're in COVID time right now, but there are YouTube videos too, where, maybe you can put it up on your TV and you can all draw anime, together one night. Or, if your child is maybe really interested in a hobby, right? Introduce them to those things. If they really, enjoy cooking, right? Give them more of that. Take them to a cooking class. There's actually free online cooking classes that you can also take. You can watch YouTube videos and, give them more of what they love. And let me tell you why this helps their self-awareness. This helps them develop vocabulary as to what they're good at and what they love. And who knows, one day your child may become an artist, may become, a chef, may become, all of these things that they were interested in, right? And so provide a lot of that. And this last one is another little activity. I told you we're going to be participating. So what I want you to do is, I want to first show you this really sweet and just charming video of what positive affirmations can do for your child. Okay, so take a look at this and then we'll go ahead and do an activity. You might have already seen this.
Take a look.
I am smart. I am blessed. I can do anything. I am smart. I am blessed. I can do anything.
beautiful? I love that. I love that video. And you might have seen it out in social media too. It's just so precious. That is what self-awareness is being able to understand that you're wonderful, that you're blessed, that you're loved. And a child being able to see that and learn that from an adult is something that they're going to hold on for the rest of their life. So now what I want you to do is I'm going to go ahead and send out a link in the chat. Or actually, I'm not sure if maybe Dr. Rivera or Carla can put that in the chat there. And I'm going to go ahead and click it too. And there are positive affirmations in Spanish too. I went ahead and just made a copy in Spanish. I didn't Google Translate. So if you need Spanish, they're actually really well translated. So now I want you to do this activity with your child too. But because this is, I'm here with you right now, I want you to pick 5 positive affirmations for yourself. All right, you can do this later on with your child, but I want you to do this for yourself right now. Look through this list, and it's pretty lengthy, and go ahead and pick out 5 positive affirmations. Write them down. I'm going to make you say them out loud in just a bit, okay? So take a moment, read through this, and I think there's 100, if I'm not mistaken, 101. There's 101, so take a moment and pick out 5. Okay, if you have your video on, show me 5. So we're gonna do 5, okay? Great, so I think, let me see, the link is, yep, so the link is there in the chat. Click it, or you know what, I'll have this open too, and you can go ahead and take a look at my screen as well. Here, I'll leave it here on the first part here. Pick out 5. And I'm going to give you about 3 minutes to do this, okay? Write them down. 5 positive affirmations for yourself. All right, okay. So here's the fun part. Now I'm going to make you say these affirmations out loud. Yes, I'm going to make you. Well, maybe not necessarily, but I'm going to encourage you. Encourage you to please say these out loud. So are you ready? You're going to say the 5 of them out loud. You can't unmute yourself. That would be beautiful if we could all unmute ourselves and just say all of these positive affirmations. But, say them out loud. Are you ready? When I say go, you say your positive affirmations. 1, 2, 3, go. I am enough. I can make a difference. I matter. My positive thoughts create positive feelings. I am open and ready to learn. And every day is a fresh start. All right. All right, so I hope you finished saying those. All right, so let's go ahead and continue. Now, I did attach this document here with you, excuse my doggy. And on the bottom here, it'll give you some space to write down 10. I do encourage you though, this is a template, pick less than 10 because you want your child to repeat these on almost daily basis, honestly, daily basis if you really have that moment and opportunity with them in the morning, or it can be at night right before they go to bed or when they wake up. Post it somewhere in their room. You can make it a project and decorate, make it a poster and just post it somewhere where they can see that. Okay, so that is linked on there as well. And like I said, you have it both in Spanish and in English. All right. Now, our next one is self-management. And so as we see in our clouds here, self-management is being able to manage our stress, being able to motivate ourselves, and a key one is being organized, right? So I attached on here those grounding techniques again, and I actually added them in Spanish as well. And feel free to post these in your house, use them consistently. Another one that's listed here is give gentle reminders. So what that means, right, it's just as adults, we need these little reminders, right? Like we're sitting down at work, we're zoning out, and then we're like, okay, all right, so somebody tapped on my desk and I need to get back to work. We all need those little gentle reminders. And so do our children. They need to be reminded, like, hey, like you were supposed to take out the trash yesterday. Just letting you know. Or hey, like you told me you would clean your room yesterday. Just want to let you know it doesn't look very clean, right? Just a little like reminder that they should be doing something. And this last one here is teaching delayed gratification. So delayed gratification is our ability to work and meet our responsibilities first and then spend our time in leisure. So what this means is our ability not to procrastinate. Really, it's just a fancy way of saying don't procrastinate. So this is a very, very important skill that every child, every being needs to understand, is that when you think about it like this, if you procrastinate and you have something important that you have to do, but instead we spend our time maybe doing something else. I'm going to talk about a child. So let's say they have a big project, right? Instead of doing that project, they spend their time playing. First, they're playing with their siblings, they're watching TV, playing video games, playing on their phone. And then comes Sunday and their project is due on Monday. All right. How does your child feel? How does your child feel on Sunday? I mean, I can remember when I was in, elementary, middle school, I would have meltdowns. My mom would have to take me to Jewel to buy a poster board at like 7 p.m. on a Sunday. And I was crying this whole time at Jewel because I procrastinated. And we put ourselves in these moments of stress. Whereas if I would have had it done on, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, instead of Sunday, right, I would have enjoyed my time, my leisure time a lot more. And that's what delayed gratification is. But I do want you to understand that delayed gratification is teaching that in a child means that you need to make sure that you keep your promises. And I know this might sound a little detached from what I was talking about, but I'm going to show you a little video. And this video is going to be a marshmallow experiment. And so what this marshmallow experiment is a child's ability to wait for marshmallows. And I know it sounds a little silly, but it'll make sense in a bit, okay? So let me play this video here for you.
If I eat 100 marshmallows, I'll be filled up.
Everybody knows that young children, particularly toddlers, 2 to 4-year-olds, are subject to impulsivity. And it has been thought that that is a characteristic that children are born with.
Do you know what? It is snack time now.
And so what we wanted to know is whether or not some of these differences between children can be influenced by their own rational thought processes.
We wanted to manipulate children's beliefs about how reliable the environment that they were in was. We assigned kids to one of two conditions, either the reliable condition or the unreliable condition.
So for the art supplies that you get to use, you actually have a choice. You can either use these crayons right now, or if you can wait for me to go get some from the other room, you can use our big set of art supplies instead.
The kids in the reliable condition, when the experimenter came back into the room, had the better thing. And for the kids in the unreliable condition, the experimenter apologized and said she'd made a mistake. We didn't have that available and then helped them use the first option.
Listen, I'm so sorry, but I actually don't have that big set of art supplies I told you about. Sorry about that. But you can still use these ones to make your project.
The classic example of a task in which children show impulsivity is what's called the marshmallow task.
For your snack, you have a choice. Look what I've got.
Marshmallow.
Yeah, so wait just a second, let me explain. So you can either eat this one marshmallow right now, or if you can wait for me to go get it from the other room, you can have 2 marshmallows instead.
I want 2 marshmallows.
And what we found,
Instead? That's what
which
I
was an
want.
incredibly large effect, the children who were in the unreliable group were more likely to fairly quickly pick up the marshmallow and eat it. So on average, they waited about 3 minutes.
And did you know I'd not eat this marshmallow?
The children who were in the reliable group waited 4 times longer. So they waited about 12 minutes, which is an incredibly long time for young children to wait before they get a reward.
The difference is maybe due to a difference in expectations about what's likely to happen in the world. That's what this experiment was designed to address.
Any 3-year-old, self-control is not necessarily at the top of their skill base, but in general, when she sets her mind that she's going to do something, she's going to do it.
In the marshmallow task, I was like, what you want to do is you want to get the most amount of marshmallow possible, but there may be other considerations. Given that I have this one marshmallow now that's guaranteed, what are the chances that if I wait, there's going to be a second marshmallow later?
If it was a teacher he had all the time, that if they would have that trust bond a little bit longer, that he'd probably wait longer.
One of the lines of work that evolved as a result of the marshmallow task was to look at the outcomes of children's behavior later in life. But something that's been missing from the equation is this rational process by which children are accessing information in their environment and making decisions about whether they should behave in the short term or behave in the long term. So if they're in an environment in which long-term gain is very rare, well, then it makes perfect sense for them to behave impulsively because that's going to maximize their reward.
How's it taste?
A production of the University of Rochester.
All right. So this here was a demonstration of how if you're telling your child, you know, I want you to do your homework, or I want you to focus on this project earlier in the day because later on, you know, we're going to do a craft or we're going to cook together. If you don't keep that promise that you're going to cook together after they do their homework, next time you ask them to do their homework early on, they're not going to want to do it because they know that what you promise after, you know, just becomes not reliable. So it is very, very important when we try and teach our children when we try and teach our children the skill of not procrastinating, we need to make sure that we are reliable. We're a reliable adult in their life. All right. Okay, next one. Okay, so our next one is social awareness. And so we see our little clouds up there. So that's our ability to empathize, you know, honor diversity and be okay with people that are different than us. Be respectful. And so right here, what I have is being able to show your kindness to a neighbor. And I've attached this really lovely little handout where you can do different things that demonstrate kindness and do these activities with your child. This could be identify a neighbor who might be possibly going through a difficult time and think of brainstorm ways that you can help them. Maybe you can purchase groceries for them and leave them outside of their house. You know, or if you have an elderly neighbor, yeah, go buy groceries for them. If you maybe have a neighbor that is living alone and during this time is living isolated, maybe you can write them a letter, you know, and have this communication with your neighbor. When we go outside of our bubble to talk to other people that are different than us, that live different lives, we all do, we are able to empathize. We're able to learn to respect. So that is all about, you know, showing kindness, that we get that from showing kindness. Now, the other thing that I want to encourage you to do is read books together. And it can be as simple, honestly, it could be any book. Pick it up, talk about the characters, talk about how the character's feeling. And through that, you help your child develop this skill of social awareness. And on here, again, this is another little hot link you can click, and it's a list of amazing books that you can read with your child. A lot of them are in the library. So now that it's open, you can, or you can place a hold on those books to go pick them up and read them with your child. The next thing is discussing the power of multiple perspectives with your child, right? I told you that right now in my classroom, we're talking about assumptions, right? That from our eyes, we all look at things very, very differently, okay? So I want to prove that to you, which I'm sure you already know, but it's a little fun activity anyways. So this is what I want you to do now in the chat. Go ahead and open up your chat, and I want you to write down, what do you see? All right, so, and this will be a lot more fun if we all participate. So go ahead and open up the chat and tell me, what do you see in this picture? Sorry about that. All right, got some. What do you see in this picture? Right. Don't be shy. Right, I see princess, upside down princess. We see an elderly man with the worried face. Yeah, we see somebody that's grumpy. All right, so we can see, right, we have an elderly person. Now, do you notice how every one of these is worded pretty differently? I mean, Laura and Carla, you're just, you know, spot on. Are you guys in the same room? You typed the same exact thing. But yeah, everybody else, you see, one of us called it a grumpy guy. Another one called it an elderly man with the worried face, right? Or we're just very broad and we just said it's an elderly person. To me, that kind of looks like Albert Einstein. Do you see that? Right, with the crazy hair? Yeah, yeah. So, right, the power of perspective. And we have another example, but we're going to go through it. I want to get to a couple more things. All right, so our fourth skill in our five competencies is relationship skills, right? Being able to build positive relationships, being able to communicate effectively, being able to work in teams. And so our ability to actively listen is very, very important to building these positive relationships. That is our ability to listen to one another and respond, right? And really make that other person feel like they're listened to. So on here, I have attached an activity that is actually from our second step resource that I mentioned to you earlier. We use this in our classrooms, but a big component of that is our home links, what they call our home links. And these are activities that our students will take home. And this is one of them. So maybe you've already done this at home. If you haven't, take a moment to do it. What it is you will be given a question or a prompt. And you will be with your child and you will go ahead and ask them, for example, how was your day? And they're going to say, my day was a little sad because one of my friends was not there and she always makes me laugh. Okay. And then actively listening would mean that me as a listener, I'm not going to interrupt while she's talking. And then when she's done, I'm going to respond, oh, I can understand that when a friend isn't there, we could feel sad. So I just repeated what they said. And then the last part is asking a question, because that shows that we're interested in what they're talking about, right? And this is just a little activity, but you might already do this in your home, right? Listening and asking questions when your child is telling you a story. So a question that I might have is, oh, what's your friend's name? Or, oh, why do you think that she's not in school? That will really engage them in this active listening. Another really fun one is cooking together. So our ability to cook together, like you will be surprised how many things you can actually learn. First of all, you learn this lifelong skill of being able to cook, right? And Next, you get to work with maybe your siblings. So you're working on your teamwork, right? If you have a younger child that's not able to use a knife, no, and chop up some tomatoes, you have your older child, right? And then maybe you have your younger child, maybe taking the things out of the refrigerator, right? So developing these or cooking together can really develop positive relationship skills. And the last one is board games. I don't know if you have, but I have played with people that just get, very, very, I want to say maybe passionate about board games. And, board games, when you start from like a young age, you can actually really teach them teamwork, being able to communicate, relationship skills, social skills, being able to take turns and make compromise, right? There's games like Jenga, Charades. Charades is a fun one. Scrabble 2 is a really great one for this. All right. So I want to stop right here. We have one more skill, but we've already gone through 4 of these. Take a moment and write in the chat if you can think of what are some ways that maybe you teach this to your child. Or if you're like, what, we do this in my home. And I think that helps them, become a better team player or to be able to communicate more effectively. Maybe you have a routine that really helps your child build, their ability to actively listen. Take a moment and type it in the chat if you have any things that you do in your home. Relationship skills. I'm gonna move back so you can see the other slides too. Social awareness. Maybe you have a really great book that you love, that you want to share with us, that you enjoy reading with your child. Or something maybe that you do with your child to demonstrate kindness to a neighbor. Right? Maybe there's another tool that you use to help your child manage their strong emotions. Let's see here. Right. I love that. Yeah, making Valentine's Day cards. This year across our district, we weren't really able to, interchange cards and stuff like that, just so that we make sure that your children are safe, that everybody's safe. But being able to do that with your neighbors or bringing them to a family member, just dropping them off at their front door, how lovely. Love that. Preparing a lunch and a snack and doing that together. I mean, that teaches, relationship skills, but also being able to be responsible, right? So that self-management, social skills. I love that. Yeah, reading a chapter. I really encourage with older kids, even like starting a book club. And, you might be reading similar books. Yeah. And talking to them every day and helping them create a solution to their problem, working through that together. That's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing. Okay, so we got our last skill here. Oh, got one. Oh, yes. I love that. Looking at recipes on TikTok. Yes. Love that. I do that too. I'm working on my cooking skills. All right, so our last component here is being able to, make responsible decisions. And that's, acting ethically, being able to analyze and reflect. And I do want to point to you that this one only has 2, and that is because all of the other skills lead to making, responsible decisions. So I did put on here the power of 2 choices. Now, this is something like I wouldn't say like maybe a phenomenon, but giving a child two choices for anything in any type of situation will help them, take ownership of what they're doing. So for example, if you have, you're trying to help your child build consistency with their chores, right? So you want them to consistently do their chores. Giving them a choice. So maybe saying for an older one, an older child, okay, do you want to wash, do you want to clean the bathroom or do you want to sweep the whole house, right? They probably don't want to do either of those things, but you've given them a choice, and whatever they pick, they will take ownership over. With younger children, this does wonders when you have a stubborn child. When you give them a choice, let's say that they, and it will be rough in the beginning, but when you consistently do something, it really does take effect. But let's say, for example, that a child really stubbornly wants to eat in the kitchen, not in the kitchen, in the living room. And you want them to eat in the dining room, right? So they're very stubborn that they want to stay in the living room. You can give them two choices. Do you want to sit to my left or do you want to sit to my right? Okay, or do you want to sit in this chair or do you want to sit in this chair? And I'm telling you, it'll work wonders. So giving them a choice. And this last one here, I attached allowances. We know that, allowances can teach us, financial responsibility. It can teach us, consequences of poor financial decisions, right? Now, I wrote this and I gave you a really nice little chart here that you can print out, or you can make your own and have your child keep their, weekly allowance there, or you can even attach it to chores, put their completion of chores and they get an allowance, and that'll also teach them, responsibility, and a whole lot of other things. But I do want to make a note that, use this, that you make the decision for your family. If you have 5 children and you can't give them an allowance, there's other ways to help them build these, make these great decisions. Do what is best for your family, okay? But here's a little chart that you can use if that is something that you would like to do. All right, so here we're coming to the end. Okay, thank you for hanging on. Here is the most important tips. Okay, if you can get, a couple things from this whole presentation, it is this: to model everything you want your child to see in your child. Okay, modeling is a key. They see everything that you do, and that is the lead they take. So if you want to see your child develop one of these skills, model it for them, right? Model it for them. And the last one is take care of yourself. Okay, you are very, very important. And you need to take care of yourself before, we can really do an amazing job taking care of others. And so to end off this presentation, I want to go ahead and share this. These are some 7 ways of just taking care of yourself. Miss Flor Delfin, which she is a social, she's one of our, I'm forgetting her title, but she works in our building. And
MTSS.
Yes, she's our MTSS kind of lead in our thank you so much, Dr. Rivera, in our building. And she found these really 7 really great tips. So the first one is, try not to bring stress home. Seek opportunities for fun. Remember to relax and recharge, even if that's just taking 10 deep breaths in your car. Ask for backup when it's needed. Connect with fellow parents. We can really learn from each other. And take a break from it all. Feel okay to say no, right? And keep your life well balanced, right? A little bit of everything. Okay, so these are just some tips. And on here, the last thing, actually, this is officially the last thing I want to show you, but it is some 7 self-care strategies for busy parents. And, you know, you can read the little title there, but they're so wonderful. And they're fast things that you can do, you know, like wake up each morning and take 5 deep breaths. And imagine the love you give and you receive moving through your day. How beautiful. I love that. Start a bullet journal, right? If you love to, if you're artsy, crafty, bullet journals are for you. Do chair yoga, which is not as intense as real yoga. So stretch your arms. You can just, you know, stretch out your neck. Get active, right? Go for a walk in this cold snow. Okay, maybe don't do that. Take a walk around your house. Do a little, you know, at-home workout with your family. Make a lunch date. Okay. Take a book break, right? And create a car sanctuary. Yes, car sanctuaries are wonderful. Okay, so these are just some extra little tips here. This is also attached on the PowerPoint. So when you get it, you can click there and that'll pop up. You can print it out, maybe post it somewhere where you'll see it to help remind yourself. All right, so thank you so much for hanging in there through this presentation. Is there any last questions? I know we only have a couple more minutes. I'm so sorry. But if you have any questions, go ahead and type them up in the chat there.
Thank you so much, Ms. Vargas. Thank you so much, Dr. Rivera, for hosting this presentation. It's been very insightful and definitely some tips that we can take and you know, use at home. Thank you. These definitely the deep breathing with my 5-year-old will help. Yes, if you have questions, place them on the chat box and we'll get to those. But if not, you will receive a copy of this presentation. We will follow up via email. The presentation will also be posted on our YouTube channel. Visit our webinars page on www.u-46.com/webinars, where you will find a copy of the recorded presentation and also a schedule of our upcoming U46Engage webinars. So we have some through our ELL department and some through our district as well. So stay tuned. And thank you again. We have a lot of thank yous in our chat box, so greatly appreciated. Ms. Karen, you have such a positive energy. They're sharing that, so great ideas. So thank you. Lots of love.
Thank you
And
all.
we'll stay tuned. Have a great night.
Have a great night, everybody. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you. Good night.